One. All right, and we are back. It's been a few weeks since we've done a podcast. We've been traveling. We were in New
Yeah.
Orleans. It was crazy, but I'm glad that we got to do this. So let's start from the very beginning, okay? Where were you born and where did you grow up?
So I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, but I came here when I was 2 years old. So I don't really like count as if like I lived there. I was raised there. I was raised in Hollywood, Florida, my whole life. I came here when I was two, and yeah, man, I just been here my whole life.
And how was it for you growing up and Hollywood, Florida, and this is what the kind of 2000 and
2006. Well, I came here in 2002,
okay.
right? But I always lived in Hollywood on Taft Street like my whole life. Um, Video games was very like minimal up until maybe we got to like middle school, just about, because that's when like the Call of Duty era came about, like GTA, things like that. But man, it was like in the streets every day, right? It was the alarm clock that your parents used to give you when the lights come on the streets, it's
Yep.
time to come home. But I would never listen. But yeah, man, I still got a bunch of road rash all over my elbows from how much time we used to be skateboarding or just doing a bunch of, they used to call it hood rat stuff. So, but yeah,
And you were raised in a family of five, so
yeah,
parents, and then it's you have two sisters.
yeah.
So how was it growing up being the only boy?
So I would say there was a little bit of responsibility knowing that I was the one that carried the last name. So I mean, as you know, last name is Cadavid, and that last name has a lot of pride, specifically from like my grandfather and all my other uncles, and specifically my dad. Um, but I felt like I had a responsibility to like really go out there and make a name for myself and either build a business or become somebody. And
And
then,
you knew this
yeah,
from an early age?
yeah, man, I noticed it because I would always ask my parents, I'm like, man, can I have another brother? I want a little brother, but then obviously it's like it's not my decision at the end of the day. But I kind of realized that once I got to, I want to say like middle school, because elementary school you don't really know what's happening, you're just having fun. But yeah, I would say like middle school, I was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of the picture that I'm getting.
And so tell me more about like that last name and the family. Like why is it so significant, that last name?
So my grandfather, so my dad and my grandfather, they were part of like law enforcement and military background. So my dad, he was in the military in Colombia, and like I think it was like the 80s, and Colombia in the 80s, how it kind of was, and specifically managing Colombia. And then my grandfather, he was part of, I think it was the police academy, but he was like a chief. And my dad, he has his belly and
Mm-hmm.
everything, but he's still fit. He just has the beer belly. But my grandfather, he was like a pretty big guy, right? He was probably like 2 to 3 times the size of my dad,
Oh
right? And
wow.
then my dad itself, and it just comes from like pride, just because I see how they used to operate. I see how they used to hold everybody accountable, and what their last name really meant to them. It was like like we're gonna get it done, yes or yes mentality. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I think a lot of people nowadays, specifically with their last name, they lack pride, and it doesn't really matter to them. They're just
Mm.
kind of going day by day, and it's kind of like a selfish journey, and they're not carrying on that legacy that their ancestors or their grandfathers or their parents are even giving to them.
And how did that happen in regards to you being born in Boston? Because your parents are Colombian, right?
Yeah,
Both of them Colombian,
yeah, yeah.
and then they came to the States, and how did that happen? You being born in Boston?
So it's very like when my dad told me the story, I was like, and he told me this story recently ago.
Oh wow.
This was like I think it was last year or the year before, because I thought my parents came to the States like very like, well, my mom did, but very traditionally, right? So it was 1986, right? And man, my dad told me this, and I got more grateful. And I was like, bro, there's no reason I should be ungrateful. So my dad, like, literally, like if it was out of a movie, my dad said, "Yeah, man, I had to cross the border, and he had to go through rivers, he had to go through he had to go through the jungle, he had to go through like a bunch of things just to get to America." This was 1986, and
And you
then
just found that out?
about a year and a half ago,
That's crazy.
right? I'm 25, right? And he's like, yeah, man, we traveled from Colombia all the way through Central America, and then through Mexico. We went through like I think he told me he went through like jungles and rivers, and he had to get on people's backs just to go over the river so they can go through. And then he got to California, right? And then in '86, who was the president? Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan didn't have any like what's the word? He didn't have any restrictions on traveling. So you didn't need an ID and you didn't need a passport to get on an airplane,
Oh, wow.
right? So all you had to do is just buy a ticket. So my dad bought a ticket in '86 and he flew from California to New York, right? And then in New York, he migrated down to Boston. And then when he got to Boston, we had family there as well that were waiting on us. And my dad started working in warehouses. He started like, just get into it, working, right? Got the work ethic from his dad as well. And then once he settled in, he flew my mom out. And my mom flew out with her mom, my grandma. And at that point, my mom thought that my grandma was just going to move to Boston with us until my grandma realized, like, okay, you're all settled in. And my grandma flies back. And then my dad and my mom, they start, building a family there. My first sister's born, second sister's born, and then I was born. And you want to know how they found out that I was going to be here? So my mom was taking my sister, Vanessa. They were driving. They were going to like the supermarket or somewhere, and there was a drunk guy who was messing around with my mom's car. And when she was driving, I think like the brakes failed or something, and she crashed into the guy in front of her. And then my mom was like, "Man, I feel like super bad. Like I don't feel good." They took her to the hospital, and they did all the scans on her. And then you know what they said? Like, "Hey, you're pregnant."
That's wild.
And my mom's like, "What do you mean I'm pregnant?" Like, "Yeah, I'm pregnant." And it's like, "Yeah," and it was me.
Wow.
Yeah,
So all three of you guys were born in
we were
Boston?
all born in Boston. Yeah,
Wow.
and then we came here in 2002.
And then I know you lived in Colombia for some time?
So I didn't. You could say I technically lived there because, so I failed the first grade because I didn't even know English.
Wow.
But I was born in Boston, and I think I was born in one of the whitest states in the U.S.
I think
right?
so.
And I didn't know English, and why? It's because my parents, they were really strict on, hey, in the house you speak Spanish. I don't care if outside the house you learn Chinese or Korean, right? But it's like in the house we speak Spanish, so that really engraved with me. And back then, the summer breaks that we used to take for like school,
Mm-hmm.
they used to be like a month and a half, 2 months long. They used to be longer than what they are now. Now they're like 2 or 3 weeks. But we would go to Colombia. We would go to Colombia like every single year for like 2 months straight for like 13 years, 14 years of my life. So I was around so many of my cousins. I was in the environment so much. I was speaking it so much in my house that I go to Colombia now and I know how to get around places, but I never lived there. But now we
That's
have like an
crazy.
apartment there. We have a ranch, things like that. Yeah.
And for you, so you came to Hollywood. Where'd you go to elementary school?
Hollywood Hills Elementary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the whole time?
The whole time. Yeah, I never jumped from school to school. I just, whatever school I would go to, I would just be there the whole time.
Nice. And then middle school. Where'd you go to middle school?
Olsen Middle.
That's right. That's
Yeah, yeah.
right. And
Go,
then
go
high
Vikings.
school,
South Broward.
South
Go
Broward.
Bulldogs.
Yes, sir. And in high school, did you play sports?
I played sports my whole life. Ever
Okay.
since like, I would say that's one of the biggest advantages that gave me in business was being in sports. It's that competitive nature that you have inside of you. Ever since like, man, I remember in elementary school, I used to get into fistfights because of sports, because of how competitive I was, right? People, so I was good at like kicking the ball, right? And then I was good at football, right? So people would always fight. They're like, oh no, I want him on the team, right? Because I was like pretty fast. I was the smaller guy. You remember me? I was always the
Yeah.
smaller guy, but I was quick. And that competitive nature is what really kept me on my toes on becoming better and like self-developing throughout like all of elementary school, and then that just transitioned into like Olsen middle school, and then same thing through high school. I was never not in sports.
Well, for the crowd that's watching that doesn't know, I've known you since you were 8 years old. So a lot of these things you're telling me, I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
the obviously the viewers don't know.
yeah.
But where did you get that competitiveness from? Like, did you see that in your dad? Did you see that in, your like, who did you see that from?
I think it was just, I don't know, man. It's
Was it the environment? Like everybody was
one,
just in
yeah.
sports?
One, it's the environment, but a lot of people can be in the environment and they're not attracted to the environment because there was people who were our friends that they weren't competitive and they were in the same environment. I would
That's
say that
true.
there was people that, let's just say, they were going to the games and they didn't get the itch to try out for the team, right? So yes, it could be the environment, but it goes back, man. It goes back to pride,
Because I
right?
remember when you would come to the park across the street where you live and where
Yeah,
you grew up. I mean, I was, we're what, 4 or 5 years apart?
you were probably like 15, 16.
So
No,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
around there.
So if you were 8, I was about 13, 14,
Yeah,
right? So I'm going into high school pretty much. You're
hmm
still in elementary, and you were coming in and you're trying to play ball with the big boys.
yeah. I noticed that my whole life I would always want to be around people who are older than me.
Why is that?
I think I get it from my sisters because my sisters, my older sister, she's 9 years older than me, right? And then my middle sister, she is 5 to 6 years older than me, right? So they would always come around with friends at the house, and I used to always get FOMO because they were able to leave the house and go out. They would be able to go out there and like go to the movies or go to the beach independently. So sometimes I would be that little brother, or I'm like, hey, can I go with you guys? And my sister at the time, we didn't get along as much as we do now, right? Um, but she was like, nah, man, like stay home. Like I don't want you to come out and hang out with us. So then when anytime I would get an opportunity to be around older people, and like bond with them or go out there and be competitive with them, that wasn't part of my sisters, I would be attracted to it. So I think from seeing older people be competitive, from me being so young, I would go back to my peers who are the same age and I would show them how competitive I am because I've already been exposed to these people that are older and seeing like, oh, this is how life is going to be when I'm older. So why don't
Wow,
I just start instilling that into my younger self now so I have an advantage of everybody who's my age? So that's why I see a lot of people that are in business that are my age right now. Maybe they don't take it that serious. Maybe they're still going to the bar. Maybe they're still going to the clubs because they haven't been exposed to people who are older than them and been around an environment of people that take life very serious.
that's very true.
So I got that from a young age, and now, like if we look at it in this office and the business itself, I'm the youngest guy here,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's very normal for me to just go out there and be like, oh yeah, let me just go hang around people who are my age or who are like-minded, like all 25-year-olds. But that's not really who I want to surround myself with.
Right.
If I'm around people who are 5, 10 years older than me, I have an advantage for people who are my age. So
That's
that
true.
came around ever since like elementary school because even when like my sister was in high school and she would be throwing parties at the house. And my sister was known for throwing parties at the house, like my oldest sister. We
Indeed.
would have lines outside the house the entire time. But it would get to the point, this was the craziest day of my life when I was younger. My sister, she made a poster one time. She said, hey, we're having a party at my house, right? Brother, we weren't even home yet. There was like 200 people outside my house.
It's a big base shop.
Bro, we were coming back from dinner. When I tell you, when like there's big crowds of people and there's cliques, right? Where cliques of like 5, 6 people. There was like 10 people in cliques outside my house. And then when we got there, everybody started cheering. Bro, I was like 8 years old. I was like, what the hell is happening?
What did your parents say about this?
They were all for it
They were all for it?
at the time because my parents were younger. We're talking about 15 years ago.
How old are your parents now?
My dad's 64. And my mom is 63.
So they were in their early 50s.
But you got to think about it. It's our culture.
That's
Where
true.
does our culture come from? We're not Americanized. My parents never got Americanized. They learned the English language to surface level to defend themselves, um, but they never got Americanized.
So, so if your older sister is 9 years old, and you all were born in Boston, your parents spent a lot of time in Boston.
Oh yeah.
How was their experience living there? Like, what
Oh
do they talk about when they talk about Boston?
oh, bro, they lived there. I think it was like 20 years
Oh wow,
before.
that's a long time.
Yeah, they lived there a long time, and a lot of my family lived there a long time. Yeah, yeah, a very long time.
I thought it was like a pass through. I didn't know that they lived
Nah,
there for
man.
20 years.
They lived there, I think it was around like 15, 20 years before I was even born because you got to think about it. They had to get themselves settled in. Like, let's paint the picture like this. Let's put ourselves in their shoes, right? Let's say we don't know Portuguese, right? And we go and we move to Portugal. Are you going to have kids in the first 1, 2, 3 years that you get there? No.
No.
It's the same thing. So my parents got there, and then in 1991, my my sister was born. So when did my dad get to America? In 86. So 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91.
6 years.
6 years in, right? And then my sister was born. My sister was in 1991. When did we move to to Florida? 2002. 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 1, 2, 17 years
Wow.
well, 15 years, and then we moved here in 2002.
And out of all places, why did they decide to move down here to Florida?
My mom was sick of the cold. Yeah, and she didn't really like the cold. And I mean, Florida, man, like, even before, like, the whole, like, government, political stance on it, like, I look at all the, Florida's the best state. I'm not even being biased because I've traveled to the other states. Like, yeah, if we put it in black and white, what's the best state? California. But if we look at it politically wise, business wise, it's not.
Yeah.
If California had the same tax regulations, if California had the same political stance as Florida, everybody would move
Oh,
to
everybody would
California.
be in California.
California has all the seasons. California has mountains. California has deserts. California has the beaches. California has the city. It has everything,
Yeah,
right? But why do people move to Florida? Because Florida has all of that except mountains, but they have a better business stance.
that's true.
That's basically it. So that's the main reason they moved over here, and yeah, man, it was pretty interesting times. I wonder what my life would look like if we stayed in Boston.
That's yeah. I always ask myself, what would my life have looked like if I never moved to the States?
Yeah.
Like, what would it have been if I just stayed in Colombia? You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, of course.
So, okay, so growing up, right? Like, how were you as a child? Like, from your lens, right? Growing up, you're a young kid, competitive, you play sports. How did you view your parents? How did you view your sisters? How was life from Alejandro's eyes?
So I think I never really like grasped everything, or you would say matured, up until I think like freshman year of high school. Because middle school, you're 12, 13, so you just became a teenager, so you still don't really know how serious life is. So I think freshman year of high school is when I really started getting the gist of things. Where it's like, okay, this is my role, this is what I got to do. I got my first job in high school as well, so I was like, okay, I'm stepping into that role of adulthood. And then I realized that I think sometimes people have to come with the realization that you only have one life, and this is your parents' first time living as well. Right? So I got so much respect for my parents for how much they did for me. So if you ask like anybody in my family, I never raised my voice to my parents. I never argue with them. If they think they're right and I think they're wrong, I still say, cool, you're right. Right? Just because it's out of respect. You're gonna tell me a man who traveled, who literally came into another country in '86, went through everything he had to go through, travel across the country, bring his entire family over, start a brand new family, not know the language, move all the way to another state, travel to 4 different states, sacrifice his whole life, sacrifice his whole future, and then I give him a hard time? What's the point of that?
And you were like this growing up? You're better than me, bro. I was not like that.
It's because so my family, we went through some hardship, but it's not financial hardship. It's when we were younger, since I was 12 years old, our families were fighting a lot, right? So it was like my mom's side of the family, they were fighting a lot with my mom and back and forth, and people were picking sides, and this happened for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So I would see how much my mom was struggling, right? I would see how much my mom would like be sad because then my grandma would be picking sides. And at that point, I was like, man, she's already getting a hard time from them. Why would I give her a hard time? If anything, I'm the one who's supposed to be like hugging her, giving her love, things like that. Because I'm her only son and I'm the youngest. So imagine the only son and I'm the youngest and I want to give him a hard time? Of course not. And then same thing for my sisters, right? Like, I mean, your siblings, you're going to argue with your sisters. You're going to argue with any siblings that you have. I feel like if you don't argue, you don't really love each other because if you don't argue, you don't really care. Right? Like, think about it. Would you argue with a stranger who beeps at you in the highway? No, because you could care less. Right? But, I mean, yeah, man. I think the older I got, you just mature and you get more emotionally intelligent. So, I don't really argue, bro. I don't feel like wasting my energy and things like that. And then the competitive nature, same thing, man. If I'm going to argue, it's because I care. And if I'm going to argue with anybody, it's going to be the referee.
And how's your relationship evolved with your sisters over time? Like, how do you see them now compared to how you saw them when you were young?
Bro, I'm very protective around them. Like, even though they're older than me, I'm still the man, right? And I would say the relationship that like I really, really, really got strong with was my sister Vanessa, right? And that she just moved to Tennessee. So for me, she was like, man, you know, my sister, she's like, I'm moving to Tennessee. Are you gonna cry, right? Or are you gonna
Vanessa would say something like
are you gonna miss me? And you know me, man. I got some pride. I'm like, nah, man. What do you mean I'm gonna? No, not at all. But I didn't know how to take it, right? Because I'm like, I'm still gonna see you again. Like if she was moving to like maybe Europe, maybe it's different. But she's a 2.5 hour flight away, right? 3 hour flight away, and I've never been to Tennessee, and I don't think I want to go there, right? But yeah, man, I would think with my sister, and then obviously when we were younger, we would be fighting a lot because I would want to use her phone. I would want to just be around her. And my sister's like she's like a turtle in her shell, especially like Vanessa. She doesn't like being bothered. She doesn't go partying. She doesn't go clubbing. If she's gonna go out, she's gonna go eat or she's gonna go hang out with her girlfriends, or just have a good time. But
Old soul.
yeah, I really aligned myself to that. But I aligned myself to that when I got older. But I aligned myself to my oldest sister when I was younger. So my oldest sister, she was complete opposites of Vanessa. So anytime I would be around Vanessa, I would like to chill, hang out, grab some food, right? And then anytime I would be around my older sister, she was just like, hey, I'm going to party, I'm doing it. I'm like, great, I want to do that too because, you know, you're 16, 17, you get a fake ID, you can go out there, have fun, or even if you're 18, 19, and I would understand her too. But then I got to an age where I was like, all right, bro, like, I don't want to do that anymore. It's like
So you pretty much like, I would say, you burned all those stages very early on, and that's why now at this age, like you have kind of no feel for it.
No. Sometimes you just have to come with the realization that it's like, there's no point of it. Like, what are you celebrating? Not achieving your goals? Are you celebrating your family still working? And I understand some people are like, yeah, man, we're just having a good time. There's nothing wrong with having a good time once in a while. But brother, every weekend?
Yeah.
what are you doing every weekend? You're coping. They say a drunk man's words is sober man's thoughts, right? And I was like, what does that even mean? A lot of people, when they're drunk, they really say how they feel. And I realized that when I was around so many drunk people and everything, and people, they would say, man, I hate my job. I swear I'm going to quit it. Da, da, da. And then they sober up, they go back to work. And I'm like, this guy hates his life. That's why he drinks every weekend.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, if I keep living my life and I keep working where I'm working, I'm going to be like this guy. And I knew you were a product of your environment. You don't see like big CEOs and founders and people who build huge empires going to the club.
No.
You don't see them going to the bars. And if you probably see them at the club, it's maybe because they got paid to go there.
Yeah.
Just because it gives the club a good face that they had this guy at their club. And they're not drinking. They're probably just sitting down on the couch on their phone.
It's like the guy that sells alcohol doesn't even drink.
Yeah, right? So I was like, there's no point in me doing any of that. So I got through that, and trust me, I had my fun. Like, I was at UCF, probably like the #1 party school in the United States, at 19 years old with my own apartment. So think about it. It's like, brother, I had my fun with it. I think I overdid it. But I overdid it so young that when I got older, like at 22, I completely stopped drinking. I was like, there's no point in this. And you know why I stopped drinking? Aside from the religion side, aside from people mentoring me, there was this one video that Tom Holland came out with. You know Tom Holland? He's the newest Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Tom
Yeah,
Holland.
yeah.
You know, he's
Ginger
like,
guy, right?
yeah. So he came on a talk show. I think he was on Ellen, or he was on another talk show, and he doesn't drink alcohol at all, right? And the lady asked him, "Hey Tom, why don't you drink alcohol?" And he was like, "I just feel like there's no need for it, and it's kind of weird if alcohol was made to. What if alcohol was invented today? Would you drink it?" And the lady was like, "What do you mean?" And Tom was like, "What if alcohol never existed and I made a drink and a scientist came out and said, hey, if you drink a lot of this drink, you'll probably get very sick or you won't remember your night at all. But if you drink a lot of it, maybe you'll get very angry or you'll get very happy. But you don't know what your limit is. But you drink it and you'll find out." Would you drink alcohol?
No.
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 Right? So it got so socialized that it's normal for people to just drink occasionally or here and there. And I was like, what if I just don't drink it at all? I was like, there's no point of it. And then after time of not drinking, I saw a lot more clarity. I see how I communicate with people and conversate. I'm like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Same thing with weed, right? A lot of people, they grow up, weed gets socialized. And when you're a weed smoker, you become the biggest lawyer. Oh man, it's not bad for me. You know, I know how to control it. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, okay, right? You become the biggest lawyer. You feel like you're the #1 guy on the channel Suits. Like, no man, it's like, no man, it's not bad for me. And then I stopped doing it. I'm like, oh, look how much clearer I am.
Yeah.
Now I can sit down and actually read a book. Before then, I couldn't stay still.
So you graduate high school, and after that comes college.
Yeah.
So you go to UCF.
Yeah,
For how long are you there?
I was there for about 2019 to 2022.
So 3 years.
I would say two and a half years. Because when COVID came out, what, 2021? 2020?
2020.
The end of 2020?
No, it was yeah, I think it was the end of 2020. I want to say December is when you started kind of hearing about it in 2020.
So the topic of conversation came out the end of topic of conversation came out end of January, end of December, around there, and then 2021 spring break happens here in Fort Lauderdale. You know how big spring break is here.
That's
Fort
right.
Lauderdale, Miami, Tampa, whatever it is. And we're here, and everybody's talking about, oh, COVID this, COVID that. But brother, there's like 30,000 people on that beach.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, okay, yeah, it doesn't really look like, for Floridians, we don't take anything serious, right? And then when I saw they didn't throw a COVID party, I'm 19. I'm like, okay, this is probably serious. I was like 20 at that time. And then I moved back to Orlando because spring break is over. And when I moved back, everything was shut down. I'm like, what the hell is happening here? Right? They said, hey, the school is shut down, the restaurant, everything closed. And I'm like, this is the first time this ever happens. Like, what is happening right now? And then at that point, they're like, yeah, school's gonna be online. And I was like, oh, like, I moved here to be on campus. What are we talking about? So I'm like, okay, maybe this is like a 2 week, 3 week thing. Like, who knows? Maybe they'll just do it for now. Like, when like a hurricane comes by,
Yeah.
they'll do it for a couple weeks and then, okay, we're back to school. A year passes by, we're still not in school. I'm like, all right, what's the point of me being up here? Everything is shut down. The gym is closed. The schools are closed. Restaurants, everything is closed. I feel like I'm in a prison. Like I'm just staying in my apartment this whole time, right? So I ended up moving back. I ended up just moving back to my hometown, and then everything was shut down here as well, right? And I just started working. At that point, I was like, you know what? I'm not learning anything on Zoom, and I'm not gonna risk my degree or risk me. Let's say if I do get the degree, because we didn't have ChatGPT back then. We didn't have AI. It was straight Google, and then Google, throws you in all different directions, right? So I was like, I'm not gonna risk my degree. Like, what if I get my degree and I still don't know what I'm doing, and I get a job and I get fired? Because it's one thing cheating your way through high school, another way of cheating your way through university, and then you actually getting a real job. And if you don't know what you're doing, then you're laid off. So I started working a bunch of different jobs. I did during COVID. I did the two main jobs that were open: construction and deliveries. Construction is never going to stop, and deliveries was in because everybody was where staying home.
Mm-hmm.
And then things started opening back up, and the company I was doing deliveries with, I started working for them. Right? They were a liquor infused ice cream company. It was probably one of the most like niche things in Miami, because they were like the first of a kind. So it was the first liquor, and they were in the heart of the design district. So everybody would come there. They were right behind the Prada store. It was very unique too. So, and bro, I was so surprised. I was like 21 years old. I was making like $300 a day there.
Wow.
Because, if people are drinking, what do they typically want? Something sweet. And then if they find something that has alcohol and then something sweet in it and it comes together, they're having a good time. And then you're in the design district. People are coming there to what? Spend money.
Yeah.
So they were tipping like obviously pretty good. And I was 21, so I was like, yeah, $300 is amazing. So at 21, you don't really have big bills. So yeah, that happens, and then everything starts opening back up. Things start opening back up, so I started working at a bunch of different spots. And at that point, I started realizing, like, okay, what do I really want to do with my life now? I'm 21, I'm 22. I had a girlfriend at the time, so I was also like going back and forth with like making money, but also spending it. So I really didn't have a balance in my life. Um, and I realized, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna go back to school. There's no point in me being a civil engineer. I was like, I don't want to do that. I didn't know what I wanted to do. There was like a time, there was like 1 to 3 years of my life, I would say just about 3, where I was like, what do I do? I don't know what, and then that's when we got into like crypto and like stocks and things like that. But I didn't take it as serious as this. It was just like a, let me see how this goes type of situation, like a hobby.
Yeah.
But I never really, I didn't know. Because think about it. You play sports your entire life. You're like, yeah, I'm going to go be a professional.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have any guidance in sports. Nobody guided me. Because my dad, what are you talking about? Because in Colombia, how do you typically get into sports? You start in an academy from when you're younger, and that same academy, you can go pro in.
Yeah.
So you just go up the ranks, boom, and then you're pro. Here, it's a whole different system. You need film, you need contacts, you need connections, you need email coaches. But I figured all that out after I graduated. So nobody gave me guidance. I said, what am I supposed to do? So then I felt so lost when I just went to school. where I felt like I was forced to go be a civil engineer
Mm.
because it wasn't a passion of mine. I didn't really want to do it. I just saw my cousins did it. They were successful in it. And that was like my lid of what success looked like. And I was like, yeah, man, that looks amazing. But then I get exposed to so many other people in like other industries that are making like millions of dollars. And I'm like, okay, they're doing very well, but compared to who?
Right.
Right? And I love them and like, I still respect them. But then I'm exposed to this. And I'm like, damn, I want to do that. And then when I see that, I'm like, does civil engineering align with that? It doesn't. So I was like, cool, I don't want to do that. Right? So at that point, I put that to the side, and then I started getting into brainstorming era. What do I want to do? How do I do it? What industry can I get into? But I think a lot of people nowadays, they grow up with fear because that's what the school system instilled in you. Because the school system, they'll teach you a lesson and then they test you. And then if you fail that test, you're a failure. But in life, you get tested and then you get taught a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, what do I want to do? So I never wanted to jump into an industry and just fail. So what happens when somebody's afraid of failure? They never start anything.
Right.
Because they're like, if I don't start, I won't fail. And if I don't fail, I'm not a failure. So then I'm good here. So I got very comfortable at my job and just going day in and day out. And then that's when we rekindled at that same time. And then I think a year later is when we did this.
But how you ended up was interesting. It was because somebody had reached out before and you learned about the business and then it kind of just fell through.
Correct. So my brainstorming era, right? I was tired. I was tired of doing what I was doing and I started jumping on Indeed. First time I hear about Indeed, so I'm like, how does this even work? Right? So I make a resume, boom, boom, boom. It was probably the shittiest resume anybody could ever see. Because there's no AI, bro. Nowadays, somebody can make an AI resume, they'll get hired by somebody who went to school to Harvard.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it doesn't matter. So I made a resume and I started putting it everywhere, and I don't hear back from anybody, and then boom, I hear back from someplace. And I was like, oh. And then I see starting salary, $75,000. I'm like, I'm 22. 75,000. Some of my buddies who went to UCF, they landed jobs for these IT companies for 80,000. And I'm like, I didn't go to school, 75,000. I'm like, okay, this looks pretty good. So they tell me like, hey, attire is business attire. Boom, bro. I don't have any business attire. So I grab a plain white shirt that I found in my closet, some slacks, and I don't even know what shoes I had on. Maybe some like old shoes that I had there. And I go, trust me, everything was very big on me, right? And I get to, so it's actually off 595, and as if you're going towards IKEA.
Okay.
Right? But it's those corporate buildings that are on this side. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's one of those buildings. So I get to the building, and I'm like, okay, this is an A-class building. I like it. I like how it looks. And I see that, and bro, I see Ferraris. I see like Lamborghinis. I see Rolls Royce. I see like the nicest cars you can imagine. You know what I was thinking in my head? Brother, I landed the jackpot with Indeed. Right? I'm like, I landed the jackpot. I'm like, my family is getting out of poverty. I'm about to be around people who have Lambos. You know, the 22, 23-year-old mindset. I'm like, brother, I'm done. That's it. I'm going to be rich and famous. Right? So I get into this place, and it was like a BOM. For some people who don't know what the BOM is, it's like a seminar. Right? So, and then there's like, I want to say there was about 10 to 12 other people there. So I'm like, okay, they're probably just interviewing everybody else. And they did it strategically. I saw the game they were playing. So we come into the office and we sit inside of like a conference table, and we're all around the conference table, and they do a presentation on the screen. Brother, I didn't understand shit. Right? I'm like, how do I get started? I don't care what you guys got going on. And by the way, I'm like, I don't care what it is. I don't care how it works. I come from a liquor infused ice cream company. Anything is better than that. Anything is better than that. I'm like, I just want to get out of this place, right? Because I wasn't working in the shop for the liquor infused ice cream company. I was working for like the corporate area where I was kind of managing all the stores, making sure they all had inventory, and I was shipping products out to our Vegas store as well. And I was also doing all the online deliveries. So I wasn't working behind the bar serving the ice cream. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just doing that, but I'm like, I'm tired of that because I would also have to drive the Sprinter van to Tampa at least once or twice a month.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm like, I'm tired of this, right? So then I get to this place and I'm like, whatever this is, I'm starting, right? And they give me a tour. They have like, it was like cubicles galore. There were so many cubicles and I was like, okay, this looks a little like iffy, but it's like, if I can get the cars you guys have outside, I think we're good, right? They had a barber shop inside of the place. They had like a mini putt green course, whatever it is. They had like a podcast studio. People had their offices, cubicles, people with headsets on. And I don't remember, if I'm being honest, if it was like either life insurance or health insurance or Medicare. I'm telling you, I don't remember what it was. But I knew it was around the insurance space, around there. So then they do the first interview and everything, and they said, hey, leave your contact, like the BOM cards, and you guys go home. We'll let you know if we have a second interview. Right? So then everybody leaves. So then I'm going home. Oh, man, I hope they hire me. Right? Like, I hope I get that. So I get that second call. I'm like, yes, let's go. I'm going for the second interview, walking in, like, the only one here out of everybody else that was in that they probably liked me. Right? So... But my naive ass, I'm like, they probably called everybody back. Everybody probably got a call back because there was empty cubicles galore. I was like, okay, they probably just need to fill all of those, so they probably called everybody back. So then I get back and I sit down with it was probably like a vice president or whatever it was. He had his own office. He's showing me like his Lambo, and I was like, oh, that's your Lambo? He's like, yeah, man, my life, selling me the dream. And he's like, yeah, man, you want to get started? I'm like, yeah, bro, I wanted to get started yesterday. Why don't you guys just get me started yesterday? So I get started. I pay for the software. I pay for the licensing. I think it was a health insurance company because I did a life and health.
Oh, yeah, it was probably health.
It was probably health, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was both because I probably could have just done the 240, but I remember doing it, and brother, I completely sucked. I sucked. I never went back after the day I got started.
Stop.
I swear. Because they just said, hey, go get your license and then come back.
Oh, wow.
They never trained me. They never did any of that. So, and I failed my test. So I thought, hey, I failed my test, I can't come back. I didn't know how it worked. And there was a big lack of communication. And I was like, how does this even work? Like, I got to get a license. Once I heard I got to get a license, I'm like, oh my God. I was like, why do I have to get a license? Why can't I just start? Right? But it was because, I'm telling you, I was around one environment. People who were partying.
Right.
People who were smoking. People who were degenerates. So then when I go from that to, hey, you got to get a state license, I'm like, it disaligns with somebody who wants to take life serious and somebody who still wants to have fun. So at that era, what did I still want to do? I still wanted to have fun. But I was kind of in this rubber band effect where it's like, I want to take the next step, but my environment isn't letting me do that. Because I had no guidance, no mentorship when it came to like the business side. Yeah.
And then, so then you go back to the ice cream spot?
I go back.
And then you're working there again?
So hear me out. This is the funniest part. So at this point, I have an assistant at the ice cream spot.
Okay.
Right? So I have an assistant, and I tell this guy's older than me. I'm 21. And this guy's the whole family. Right? And he's my assistant. Right? It should be vice versa. And I tell this guy, hey, bro, I'm leaving this job. I found something good. Right? It's like, yeah, man, I'm studying for my test right now. My test is tomorrow. I'm about to leave this job, bro, and you can have my position. Right? Right? And this guy's like 40. So, yeah, you're leaving this place? And I'm like, yeah, bro, it's not for me anymore. right? I found something better. And I stayed there. And that guy looked at me like an idiot. I'm like, man, what am I doing? What am I doing right now?
Oh man,
It's
life was
crazy.
lifing, bro.
Bro, I was like, at that point, I was like, you know what, bro? I don't know what I'm gonna do, right? So I had to get fired from that place. I had to get fired, and then I went to another place where I got hired as well, and it was the same concept.
And that was the one that was in Wynwood, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're there, and then tell me how you first encountered PHP, because somebody was in the business, reached out, you got on a Zoom.
So it was 20. What year was this? 2021? No.
Well, I got
2022.
started in 2022.
So this was probably like very early 2022, because I was already back in Florida.
Oh, yep. So
I was already back.
it was
I
early 2022.
Yeah, I was already back in Hollywood and everything. So it was very early 2022 when I had moved back.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy who contacted me through Instagram, and we knew each other through mutual friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really directly know him. And he's like, hey, man, if you're keeping your business options open. I said, yeah, bro, I just came back from this place that I failed my test at. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to leave my place for sure. But so hear me out. So we got to backtrack a little bit. So I was at the Wynwood spot, right? And I had just started. One of the managers I knew, or not the managers, one of the guys at corporate, he was like, hey man, if you stay for a couple months, I can make you a manager. And I'm 2022, in early 2022, I'm 21 years old. And he's like, yeah man, you can make around like $4,000 a month. 21 years old, I'm like, $4,000 a month is not. I get my own apartment, you know, and then because apartments were a lot cheaper back then, they were like $2,000. So I was like, okay, I can do that. Boom, boom, boom. And then my budgeting sucked, so I was like, if I get an apartment for $2,000 and I'm making $4,000, I don't think I'm gonna go far. So he tells me that, and then I'm networking at the gym, and this is when I started going to the gym like very often because I had just left my ex. Right? Or my ex had just left me, we'll put it that way. And then, think about it. In the same week, I got fired on Wednesday. No, I got broken up with on Wednesday, and I got fired on Friday. So I was going through it. I'm like, all right, my life just reset it 100%. Right? I don't have a girl and I don't have a job. What do I do? So then I contacted one of the guys that used to work at the old company that I used to work with. And he's like, yeah, man, come work over here. I'm like, perfect, got a job. Whatever job, I just needed a job. I'm like, cool, I just need a job. I have bills, like, I just got to do it. And then as I'm going to the gym to kind of like, as I'm going through everything with like losing my girl and then doing all of that, I'm like, cool, I'm going hard in the gym and I make a lot of connections. And then I meet this guy and he's like, yeah, man, I have my own company. My dad just passed it down to me and we do sales. And I'm like, sales? Like, what is sales? Like, I've always heard of sales, but I've always heard of like car sales or like real estate. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll be good at that or not. Like, what is that? Right? And I'm like, bro, how much can I make if I come work with you? And he's like, oh, like 5,000 to 7,000. And I'm like, 5,000 to 7,000? I'm like, the budget just got higher for my apartment, right? And I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. And I'm like, bro, if I come, that's when I watched The Wolf of Wall Street. I was like, I come work with you, I'm going to be your number one guy. I was the worst person. I sucked. Bro, I completely sucked. And it's down the street. I can show you where it is, right? So I get there, and I'm gonna take accountability on it that I didn't really study the game that much, or I didn't study the tiles or the pricing, but also I think the training, he had too much confidence in me because we knew each other from the gym. He saw that I was lifting, so he's like, yeah, this guy, he got it, right? So he would take me on field trainings, and I would see him close or him do the deals, right? And I was like, oh, okay, that's not that bad. But I didn't know how much the budgets were, how much I can lowball a person, how much I can highball a person. So every time I would go back and forth with the client, I'm like, let me call my guy really quick, right? But I think in like 2 months, I closed one deal. And I made like $240. I completely sucked, right? And then at a certain point, I told the guy, I'm like, yeah, man, I don't think it's gonna work out, right? So that was my very first sales experience. I would have to travel to a whole nother house with my car. I would have to travel to a whole nother house, go into the house, take the square, because we would sell tiles and bathroom remodelations, right? I would have to go into the house, take the square footage of the entire house, and they would probably have a nice floor, and I would have to sell them the fact that they need a nicer floor,
Wow.
right? Or they wanted a new floor, but I had to try to sell myself better than whatever other quotes were going to come into that day. I sold one thing, and that's it.
Damn.
And then I went back to Wynwood after I quit, and the managers and the corporate guy basically said, we already hired another manager. And I'm like, fuck. So I stayed there for 2 months, and then I got started in this, and then I quit.
Man, that's what a story, bro. What a story. So then I remember I reach out to you, I tell you about it because during that same time, you know, it was the crypto era, it was stock trading, and we have a little group going on.
Yeah.
And then I get started and I tell you about it. By the way, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I have no
Thanks for letting me know now.
It was like,
I'm looking at you like, this guy knows everything that he's doing.
I had no idea what was happening, okay? I just knew I got started. I was excited. I was getting a license. And I didn't even know what life insurance was when I got started.
Oh, like when you got started in this?
Yeah, bro, I didn't know what life
insurance. I thought you meant the crypto and day trading.
No. Crypto, I had it down packed.
Okay.
We had it going on. Like I knew what I was doing. Like it was this business when I got started here, bro. I had no idea what life insurance was, annuities, like the office. I mean, you remember the first floor? It was bare. None of us knew what we were doing.
It was so much fun, though.
We were just the vision was real. The dreams were real.
The most fun I've ever had in the business was not knowing what the hell I was doing, and then just like introducing business partners, selling here and there, randomly making 2, 3, 5. I remember when I made my first $8,000. I was like, brother, this is it. Like, imagine me going from like me working 2 months trying to sell these people tiles to making $8,000 in a month. I'm like, that's it. I'm making six figures a year. I'm gonna shit on all my cousins, right? And then, at that point, I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Like, we're really moving and grooving. And then we moved to the 3rd floor.
Yeah,
We get our own office.
Yeah, bro, everything went. I would say from the first floor, it went by fast. I would say from the first floor to the 3rd floor, it was gunning and going, bro. It was just excitement. We're going, we're building, we're growing. This, that, promoting, office, 10 people, 25, 50, 75. What's happening? Can't fit guests anymore. Exciting. Gotta go to a new office. Go to a new office. And then, bro, that office was just like, it was enormous. It was humongous. It was for no reason. It was so big for no reason.
For people who don't know how big that office was, we could have had an indoor soccer field in there.
Bro, I was riding. You remember when I used to bring the electric scooter? I was riding an electric bicycle inside of it.
Well, we had dogs in there running, full on. I think Armani went there one time. We did.
Yeah, Armani was there.
We were having movie nights there.
It was crazy.
We were not taking the business seriously.
No, not at all, bro. When we moved there, it was a complete just hangout. Mahmoud was down here at the time. We were just hanging out. We would come to the office to watch movies. It was bad. It was a bad time for us, right? Our business sucked.
What we were doing?
But we were, bro. I personally, I look back at that time, and I was like, what was happening? We had an office. We were fired up, but the office was to hang out. Like we would come hang out.
We would just make enough just to pay the office.
No strategy. No quarterly goals.
It was just like, this is my month. This is how much my monthly rent is.
Bro, I didn't even know that PHP rank contest. Nothing.
Well,
okay.
We didn't even think we could hit any of those.
That's true.
We were like, yeah, you guys run contests. It's for the brokers. Because we weren't even brokers.
Yep.
Right? So we were like,
well, I remember I became a broker. And
towards the end of staying at the 3rd floor.
But it was like I was a trainee because I had no team. It was by myself. It's me and you. But Man, what a fun time, bro. What a fun time. So then now fast forward, man, we're here, man, it's 2026. I can't believe it. Bro, we're about to
Damn.
go on to 4 years in the industry since we got
That's
started.
so crazy,
Bro, it's
bro.
crazy.
Holy shit.
4 years. Okay, you ready for this? Four
Yo, that's
years.
crazy.
That's a college degree.
No,
That's high
but think about it
school.
like this. You're only 4 years old.
Oh, 4 years old. You're just now walking. Like you're
Just
just
about.
now
You don't even know how to,
walking.
you barely know how to speak.
Pretty much. You're Malik right now. Not even. Malik is what? He's about to be 5,
No, I think he's about to be 4.
4. So we're Malik. Yeah, because bro, when we got started, Malik
He was just born,
he was just
basically.
a baby. So we're Malik. When we see Malik, that's
our
us in the business. That's us in the business.
That's our business.
So it's exciting, man. But what are you know? By the way, this 55 minutes, an hour. So
We need to do
no
a
we
series.
we do because
There's so
like
much
the
more.
first part is there's so much. We haven't even spoken about religion. We haven't even spoken about politics. We haven't
Nothing.
even spoken about the ups and
There's
downs.
gonna be a part 2, part 3.
That's why every time I do them is part 1 because I know there's many more parts that are gonna come.
Yeah.
But just to finish it off, man, what are you excited about this year in 2026? What are your goals? You know, because when we look back at this in December, you know, what in December you want to look back on like, man, this is what I did. I accomplished. These were the goals. I attacked them. So what's your vision for this year?
So I have a personal mission and I have a business mission. Right? My personal mission, it's the year of reinvention. Right? And then my business mission is the year of rewriting the narrative.
Mm.
So those are my 2 right there. And then when it comes to income level, $250,000 is obviously bare minimum. We're running every single day, locked in. I see some of my colleagues, some of them are locked in, some of them aren't. I'm like, checkmate, perfect. And you see it, bro. You see it. It's very easy for somebody to get checked out of maybe a lot of wins, a lot of edification that they got, and I'm like, okay, I see it, right? And you can see it in the company itself, and I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But I knew I'm like, it's a brand new year. It's a fresh start. You can either double down this year, or you can go back.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, it's the year of like, either you make it or you don't. Like this is the year.
And why reinvention and rewriting the narrative?
So reinvention is, you're not supposed to recognize yourself. And people aren't supposed to recognize you. Let's just say by the time June comes by, which is mid-year, and December comes by, you shouldn't be seen as the same person. Like Sahid should not be Sahid come June. Sahid should be, oh no, he's a leader of leaders. When they say Sahid, they know exactly who they're talking about. You know what's crazy? Is, you know when you say somebody's name, an image just pops up for you? Like when I say the word Michael, who pops up for you?
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
For some people, it's Michael Jackson. Right? So I'm like, when they say the name Sahid, what person pops up for you? That's what I want my name to be like. When they say the name Alejandro, they instantly think about me. No matter where in life it's going to be.
Mm.
Right? You know, Pitbull came out on an interview and said, I'm so known now that when you search up the word Pitbull in Google, I come up before the dog. I'm like, damn.
That's crazy.
So I'm like, if you need to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't reinvent yourself, how do you expect to make more income? How do you expect to have a better organization? How do you expect to lead leaders? I'm not trying to lead followers. Yeah. Right? There was a post that I made. It said, I'm not afraid of a herd of lions being led by a sheep. I'm afraid of a herd of sheep being led by a lion.
Mm.
So I'm like, I'm not in this business to go out there and lead followers. I'm here to lead leaders. So how do you think I'm going to do that? You think a leader wants to be like led by somebody who's not reinventing themselves, I'm like, no, I have to reinvent myself. I have to read more. I have to dress better. I have to speak better. I have to go to the gym more. I have to make sure I'm more aligned with my team. So it's everything is reinvention, everything. And then rewriting the narrative is somebody has a narrative about me. I'm gonna make sure your narrative is wrong. But think about it. You're in charge of that. If you
Yeah.
don't reinvent yourself, their narrative stays the same. Oh, he's the guy who doesn't come through. He's the guy who doesn't hit his quotas. He's the guy who doesn't hit his promotion. He's the guy this. He's the guy that. I'm like, gotta rewrite the whole narrative. That's why. And what comes with doing all of that? Discipline, consistency, urgency, speed. That's all. If you have all of those daily, it's very hard to beat somebody like that. And then the number one thing out of everything is hunger.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not hungry, bro, how do you expect to win? And then if you grab all of those five, what's gonna drive all of those five? There's two things. Your pride, and it has to matter to you. And if you don't have pride, what's the point of life? If you don't have pride in winning, if you don't have pride in showing that you can be the best in your skill, if you don't have pride in showing that, hey, this is my last name, this is what we stand on, then it doesn't matter to you. Nothing matters to you. You're just going through life like, okay, it's another day. Like, what's the point of that? That's the day you start dying.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has to matter to you. It has to matter to you to win. So all of this is just systems and like, yeah, this is how we're going to do it through speed, discipline, consistency, urgency, hunger. But if you don't have pride behind your last name, if it doesn't matter to you, what are we even talking about?
That's powerful, bro. I always like doing this at the end. I'm gonna say someone's name, and then you say the first word that comes to mind. So we'll go with Cristiano Ronaldo.
Patrick David.
No, so I say the name of the guy,
Oh, I thought you meant like who he
and then
reminds you of.
and then you have to say the first word that comes to mind. So like
Oh, I
Cristiano
see, I see, I
Ronaldo,
see.
discipline.
I see,
You
I
know what
see,
I
I
mean?
see. Yeah, I see.
So Cristiano Ronaldo,
Goat.
Lionel Messi,
Skilled.
Patrick David,
Leader.
Hasbusi,
Leader.
your dad,
Example.
my man. I appreciate you, my brother.
Of course. My guy.